Johnnie Walker is a brand of Scottish whiskey. The brand was introduced in 1820 as a grocery store and was introduced in 1865 as a whiskey blending company, and to this very day, the brand is still alive and healthy. So, how did it become so popular? Well, let's find out. John Walker was born on July 25, 1805. His farmer father died in 1819, and the family sold the farm. Their trustees invested the proceeds, which was £417 in an Italian warehouse, grocery, and wine and spirits shop on the High Street in Clemenark, Ayrshire, Scotland. Walker managed the grocery, wine, and spirits segment as a teenager in 1820. The Excise Act of 1823 relaxed strict laws on distillation of whiskey and reduced by a considerable amount the extremely heavy taxes on the distillation and sale of whiskey. By 1825, Walker, a teetotaler, was selling spirits including rum, brandy, gin, and whiskey. In short order, he switched to dealing mainly in whiskey. Since blending of grain whiskies with malt whiskies was still banned, he sold both blended malt whiskies and grain whiskies. They were sold as made-to-order whiskies, blended to meet specific customer requirements, because he did not have any brand of his own. He began using his name on labels years later, selling a blended malt as Walker's Clemenark whiskey. John Walker died in 1857. The brand became popular, but after Walker's death, it was his son Alexander Alec Walker and grandson Alexander Walker II who were largely responsible for establishing the whiskey as a favored brand. The Spirits Act of 1860 legislated the blending of grain whiskies with malt whiskies and ushered in the modern era of blended Scotch whiskey. Blended Scotch whiskey, lighter and sweeter in character, was more accessible and much more marketable to a wider audience. Andrew Usher of Edinburgh was the first to produce a blended whiskey, but the Walkers followed in due course. Alexander Walker had introduced the brand's signature square bottle in 1860. This meant more bottles fitting the same space and fewer broken bottles. The other identifying characteristic of the Johnnie Walker bottle was, and still is, the label, which since that year is applied at the angle of 24 degrees upwards left and right and allows the text to be made larger and more visible. This also allowed consumers to identify it at a distance. One major factor in his favor was the arrival of a railway in Clemenark carrying goods to merchant ships traveling the world. Thanks to Alec's business acumen, sales of Walker's Clemenark reached 100,000 gallons, which was 450,000 liters per year by 1862. In 1865, Alec created Johnnie Walker's first commercial blend and called it Old Highland Whiskey before registering it as such in 1867. Under John Walker, whiskey sales represented 8% of the firm's income. By the time Alexander was ready to pass on the company to his own sons, that figure had increased to between 90 and 95%. In 1893, Cardhu Distillery was purchased by the Walkers to reinforce the stocks of one of the Johnnie Walker blend's key malt whiskies. This move took the Cardhu single malt out of the market and made it the exclusive Persevere of the Walkers. Cardhu's output was to become the heart of the Old Highland Whiskey, and subsequent to the rebranding of 1909, the prime single malt in Johnnie Walker red and black labels. From 1906 to 1909, John's grandsons, George and Alexander II, expanded the line and had 3 blended whiskies in the market: Old Highland at 5 years old, Special Old Highland at 9 years old, and Extra Special Old Highland at 12 years old. These 3 brands had the standard Johnnie Walker labels, the only difference being their colors, white, red, and black respectively. They were commonly referred to in the public by the colors of their labels. In 1909, as part of a rebranding that saw the introduction of the Striding Man, a mascot used to present day that was curated by cartoonist Tom Brown, the company rebranded their blend to match the common color names. The Old Highland label was renamed Johnnie Walker White Label and made a 6-year-old. The special Old Highland became Johnnie Walker Red Label at 10 years old. An extra special Old Highland was renamed Johnnie Walker Black Label, remaining 12 years old. Sensing an opportunity to expand the scale and variety of their brands, Walker acquired interest in Colburn Distillery in 1915, quickly followed by Clenshaw Distillery Company and Dalhousie Talisker Company in 1916. This ensured a steady supply of the single malt whiskey from Cardew, Colburn, Clynelish, Talisker, and Dalhousie distilleries. In 1923, Walker bought Mortlach Distillery in furtherance of their strategy. Most of their output was used in Johnnie Walker blends, whose burgeoning popularity required increasingly vast volumes of single malts. Johnnie Walker White was dropped during World War I. In 1932, Alexander II added Johnnie Walker Swing to the line, the name originating from the unusual shape of the bottle, which allowed it to rock back and forth. The company joined Distillers Company in 1925. Distillers Company was acquired by Guinness in 1986, and Guinness merged with Grand Metropolitan from the Diageo in 1997. The year saw the introduction of the blended malt Johnnie Walker Pure Malt, renamed as Johnnie Walker Green Label in 2004. In July 2009, the brand's current owners, Diageo, decided to close all operations in Clonmacnoise by 2012. This met with backlash from local people, local politicians, and then First Minister of Scotland, Alex Salmond. Despite petitions, public campaigns, and a large-scale march around Clonmacnoise, Diageo proceeded with the closure. The Johnnie Walker plant in Clonmacnoise closed its doors in March 2012, and the buildings were subsequently demolished a year later. In July 2020, Johnnie Walker announced plans to release a new environmentally friendly paper bottle set to debut in early 2021. In October 2021, Johnnie Walker announced a new label, Jane Walker, created by the distillery's first female master blender. And there's the history of Johnnie Walker. How did it become so popular? Well, I think with all those mergers and acquisitions that they did, I think that's how they became very popular. Anyways, this is where I'm going to end off this video. If you guys happen to enjoy this video, please make sure to like button and also don't forget to subscribe because I have videos every single day. And you can find all of my social media account links and the link to my second channel down in the description below. And sorry if my voice sounded a little bit funny. My throat is a little bit scratchy today. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And until then, I will see you guys in the next video. And Merry Christmas. Goodbye!